I'm taking it slow.
It's not every day we make an iOS exclusive top 10 on the channel. However, sometimes it's actually quite hard to resist it when it's this good. June and July have been both very faithful months in mobile gaming, and they brought some major games to platforms. Here's our list of top 13, some of the finest and most graphically demanding iOS exclusive games of July 2024. First of all, number one, we have Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. I've actually talked about this one in my previous video as part of Apple's latest chip release. Capcom went on and officially released Resident Evil 7 Biohazard out of nowhere. It's now available for iPhone 15, iPads too. It's a free-to-download game letting you go through a decent portion of the game with the full main game priced at $20, letting you this time play as Ethan on the go. This game is playable offline. It'll take you a whopping 33 gigabytes of storage and actually runs really good for a game with such a size. You can actually play it with a controller too. This has been a long time, but the good developers XD Games finally revealed the release date of August 1st, technically July 31st, for the one and only Sword of Convallaria. Probably the finest pixel art style free-to-play tactical strategy RPG classic in the making right now. It offers both modern and classic elements. Games such as Final Fantasy Tactics and the late Star Ocean Second Story are. Technically, it's a HD 2D or a mix of 3D and two-dimensional classic stuff. Now, accompanied with good news, developers actually released a new trailer for it too. One of the finest ever made PC, console, and also formerly Apple Arcade games of all time has actually made its way to mobiles and iOS as a standalone release this week. Rated a 10 out of 10 on about 99% of the critical websites at this point. The Pathless is coming from the same developers of the famous game Abzu. I've heard people regard this game as a mix of Shadow of Colossus, since there's just so many boss fights, Sonic, and also The Journey. See, Pathless is actually set in an open world. It's not a free game that will take you down about $10. Coming in at number 4, we have Sniper Elite 4. I mean, like, if Delta Force Hawk Ops wasn't much of a hype recently, the famous tactical shooter Sniper Elite 4 is coming to mobiles. Not all devices though, it's limited to iPhone, iPad, and Mac later on in the year around holidays. Anyway, if you've never played a Sniper Elite game, this is a tactical FPS. It's halfway like a Hitman, another Call of Duty. Sniper Elite 4 takes place during World War II in Italy, and this is how it looks on iOS.
Find out what the Nazis are up to and get the hell out. What happens next could change the course of the war.
Very quick mission over here in case you missed it. You can now play Assassin's Creed Mirage on iPhone 15 Pro, Pro Max, iPod Air, and iPod Pro. This is a fully fledged Assassin's Creed for mobiles, and it runs phenomenally good for a first-time mobile game from Ubisoft. It's free, about 6 gigabytes in total. Alright, not that there is a shortcoming on puzzle adventure games on Android and iOS, but Venari is a pretty good addition to your library if you like puzzle adventures. See, however you look at it, puzzle games tend to be challenging and offer some story as well. Venari here does both really well whilst offering a very good design and world to look at as well. See, Venari is actually made with the use of Unreal Engine 4 and has a rather similar feel to the game Myst. Either way, it's free to begin, $5 for the full game. Infinity Nikki, we mentioned in our previous video too, is going through a beta testing right now, and it's said to be coming to iOS and also Android, PCs, and even the PlayStation consoles around fall this year. This is just a quick reminder, what you're watching over here is iOS and PC gameplay. It's actually available now and will take you about 27 gigabytes of storage. Anyway, if you're new, Infinity Nikki over here is a combination of open world games and dressing up simulations, allowing you to play as Nikki while exploring the world world using whatever ability she has while she changes clothes. They've actually said they're going to be offering a spiced up experience with Infinity Nikki. I don't even know what that means. On the other hand, we have a game called Waven. Waven brings a pretty fresh twist to tactical RPGs with first of all, a very vibrant world and some strategy combat. Your actions consist of building your team of heroes that each have a unique ability and tackle different sorts of challenging missions. Offering a deep customization and engaging gameplay, Waven is available online and takes you about 700 to space. It's available on both iOS and Android. Zenless Zone Zero is another game we had to include in our list. It's that big of a release. It's not an iOS exclusive, obviously, and it's sitting on pretty much all stores since a couple of days ago. This game is right now ranked as the #1 free-to-play role-playing game on both the Google Play and the Apple Store. For those of you new, however, Zenless Zone Zero, or just simply Triple Z, is a free-to-play gacha action RPG adventure set in a post-apocalyptic world, and it's Hoyoverse's third launch game in about 4 years. There's several different changes and interesting elements compared to games such as Genshin Impact. It's from the same team technically. Number 10, we have Middle Slug Awakening, already downloaded over 10 million times in the East. This is a side-scrolling shooter, just like the previous iterations, now adding 3D depth. This game is an absolute gem as it is amongst the new games we had our hands on. The only problem is it will take you about 3.5 gigabytes, roughly 4 gigabytes in total, but it does really make up for that with what it really offers. I mean, look, it's a side-scrolling game and it's the size of a MMORPG. It's coming out fully in the West in about 2 weeks from now. Coming up behind that, we have Midnight Girl, one of my favorite games in today's list, although not an iOS exclusive, at least not anymore. It's another artistic minimalist style point-and-click platform adventure, open for pre-orders and pre-register on iOS and Android. It's actually a PC $12 game, and the mobile version lets you play the first level free, the rest is paid. If you're keen to Anaplan interactive games, it's pretty much the same halfway an emotional journey, another half something really creative. Heaven Burns Red is getting an English version to next month. Heaven Burns Red, which we've had our radars up for many months since reveal, is a Japanese original anime turn-based RPG that was actually awarded as one of the top 5 best mobile games in 2022 for both its story and gameplay. It's an online post-apocalyptic narrative-driven game in nature about humanity's last hope. You can expect the English version release by the end of next month. This game is about 4 gigabytes in total. A couple days ago, we also had our hands on Outlanders 2, Second Nature. This is a town-building strategy game from an Uruguayan indie studio that offers some pretty vibrant tropical and also holiday environment at the same time. Here's the thing, Outlanders 2 offers a fully remade or revamped graphic style. There's going to be new biomes with their shifting effects and events, and you're going to have access to several times the amount of building and items than the first game. It's pretty easy to learn, quite hard to master. Last but not least, this is just a reminder for those of you who were actually waiting on a shed of light on this gem's release. See Hattori no Shita, or Project Outcast. Let me just remind you, this is a action RPG developed by a subsidiary studio of Tencent Games and is based on the popular martial arts anime with the same name. See, Outcast is due out for iOS and is now in its final stages of polish. We heard it's not even gonna take the rest of the year. Anyway, Outcast is only by the looks one of the most visually stunning games we've had in mind in the past couple of years. It is not going to be exclusive to iOS, coming to Android 2 and other consoles actually until then, which is possibly November. Just make sure to stay tuned.